In this video, we are going to take a look at some rulers and measurement tools inside of Photoshop to help you just measure things out as you begin working. Now, if you look over in the properties panel, you'll see that I am working in pixel dimensions. So we have 1920 by 1279, almost 1280 for this image. And you might be working in metric or standard units, which is fine. You can always change those in the preferences if you would like to work in pixels or metric or whatever is most comfortable for you. And we have a couple tools to help us do measurements inside of Photoshop. Now, the first tool is actually going to be the ruler tool. So if you look under the eyedropper tool, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one down, we have the ruler tool. Now, when I select that, it gives us some information up in the options bar. And if I just click and drag out into the document, you'll see those options change, and it's giving us information on the X, Y, coordinates, the width, the height, the angle, and the lengths, and so forth. So this is a great way to come in and actually make measurements. Now, whenever I click again, the tool goes away, and it doesn't save this out into a layer or anything like that. It just allows us to take these measurements. So let's talk about the pixels on this document for a moment. As we know that this document is made up of individual blocks. If we zoom in, you can see those pixels. So they are individual blocks that are making up this document, and they are colored, which gives the actual information for what we see. This is there we go. So here we have all of this color information. Each one of these is a separate colored pixel, and then as we zoom out, you can see how it makes that image. And we have 1,920 of those pixels going across and 1,279 going vertically, making up this document. Now, you might want to change your pixel information based on the size of the document you're using, and if you're working with, say, metric or standard units like inches and so forth, just remember that this is going to work pretty much in the same fashion. If I click on the info panel, on the panels over here, you can see that we have an X and a Y coordinate. And if I begin hovering over this document, it shows me those coordinates. That is saying the actual pixel that this document is made up of. And the documents always start at the top left corner of the document. So if I go to the top left, you can see that it's down into, I'm trying to get 1 to 1 or 1 to 0. You can see that we are at the first pixel on the X, which is your horizontal, and the 0 pixel on the Y going downward. And as I begin moving these, you can see those numbers change. So as I move across horizontally, you see that X number getting bigger and bigger. And then if I go back to where it's 0 and I start moving down, the Y number is going to get bigger. So that's how Photoshop recognizes documents. It counts from the top left going right and going down, and that is your X, Y coordinates. So when you select the ruler tool and you see those X, Y coordinates up there, you can see where that first point was made, 222, the Y at 261, and now you can see the length under the L1, and that says that this is 1,625.48 pixels across, not the X and Y, but the actual length of pixels that this reaches. So you have a couple different options here to see the X and Y coordinates and the length of anything. That gives us the ability to come in and say, okay, how big is this actual ruler here? So we can measure that out, and we can see it's almost 470 pixels or so, and then we can do the pencil and we can measure it out and see it's 354, and so forth and so on. And this will help you out, especially when you're doing graphic design work or web design work where you need to know exact pixel information to make your designs look great. Now, Photoshop also gives us another way to pull out rulers and measure things. So if we go to the top and we click on View, and we go down to rulers, you can see we have Control or Command R. We'll select that. And we have a ruler system in our document. And as I zoom out and zoom in, you'll see those rulers change, because what they are doing is they are telling us where the pixels are for this image. So if I move, let me zoom out and do this. So if I move my cursor to right here, you'll see it's 300. and you look over at 300 and I make an adjustment, you can see that that X coordinate is right at 305. So these are counting the pixels horizontally and vertically, and also just gives you a way to see the numbers. So as you begin working, if we say we zoom in here onto this pencil, you can see the actual pixel information of the ruler here. It's sitting at around 874 or so pixels and goes up to about 890 on the width. So we can see that right here. So that gives you just a couple different ways that you can measure in Photoshop. Hopefully that helps you out. And then as we begin talking about guides, we'll take a look at how you can go up into these rulers and you can snap out some guides from them and look right at the dimensions. And this helps out for creating designs and also for creating slices for websites and things of that nature. But that just gives you a brief explanation of how rulers and measurements work inside of Photoshop.